Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the NTPC Limited 4Q and FY21 earnings conference call hosted by Motilal Oswal Financial Services. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on a touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Aniket Mittal from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rituja. On behalf of Motilal Oswal Financial Services, I welcome you all to the Q4 and annual FY21 earnings conference call of NTPC. We are joined today by the senior management of NTPC, led by Director of Finance, Mr. A.K. Gautam. Without further ado, I would now hand over the call to Mr. Gautam and would request him to introduce the management team, followed by his opening remarks and the Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Aniket. Am I clear?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. A very good evening to everybody. I, A.K. Gautam, Director of Finance, welcome all of you to the Q4 FY21 phone call of NTPC Limited. NTPC continues to provide unceasing support to the nation by ensuring uninterrupted supply of power even during the second wave of COVID-19 recently witnessed by India. Before I move further, I would like to introduce Sri Dilip Kumar Patel, Director Human Resources, Sri Ramesh Babu, Director Operations, Sri Chandan Kumar Mandal, Director Commercial, and Sri Ujjwal Kanti Bhattacharya, Director Projects. I also have with me other key members of NTPC team. Today, the company has announced the audited financial results for FY21 along with the unaudited financial results for Q4 of FY21. The key performance highlights for the financial year and quarter ended 31st March 2021 have also been disclosed on both the stock exchanges. Now I will touch upon certain operational highlights for Q4 and 12 months of FY21. NTPC standalone and group recorded highest ever annual and quarterly generation in FY21. NTPC's standalone gross generation in Q4 FY21 is 77.63 billion units as compared to 68.27 billion units in the corresponding previous quarter. And for FY21, it is 270.91 billion units as compared to 259.62 billion units in the corresponding previous period, registering an increase of 13.71% and 4.35% respectively. Gross generation of NTPC Group in Q4 FY21 is 91.67 billion units as compared to 76.01 billion units, and in FY21 it is 314.07 billion units as compared to 290.19 billion units in the corresponding previous period, registering an increase of 20.59% and 8.23% respectively. NTPC standalone and group recorded highest day generation of over 990.65 million units and 1.19 billion units on 20th March 2021 and 19th March 2021 respectively. In Q4 FY21, we have added 1,975 megawatt commercial capacity, which included 800 megawatt at Gadarwara, 660 megawatt at Meja, 300 megawatt at NIPCO, 210 megawatt solar capacity at Bilor, and 5 megawatt solar capacity at Oraiya. After running 54 years, operations of 460 megawatt Talcher Thermal Power Station have been discontinued with effect from 31st March 2021. With these, the commercial capacity of NTPC has become 51,725 megawatt on a standalone basis and 64,490 megawatt for the group as on 31st March 2021. NTPC Group, being a leader in the power sector, has a strong commitment towards renewable energy and would be targeting RE capacity of 60 gigawatt by FY 2032. Our board has already approved a business plan in this regard. NTPC Group has already commissioned 1,350 megawatt of RE projects and under EPC mode, 2,884 megawatt of solar projects, including ongoing projects of NTPC REL, are presently under implementation, and 3,290 megawatt are under various stages of tendering. For FY21, 4 coal stations of NTPC were among the top 10 performing stations in the country in terms of PLF. It includes Korba with 93.66%, Sipat with 90.12%, Dihan with 89.04%, and Vindhyachal with 88.73% PLF. NTPC flagship unit Singrauli Unit 1 and Korba Unit 2 recorded highest annual PLF of 100.40% and 100.06%. During FY21, PLF of coal stations of NTPC was 66%, as against the national average of 54.56%, thereby maintaining a spread of over 11%. During the period, we have suffered losses due to grid restrictions and fuel supply. The generation loss due to grid restrictions in coal-based stations was 94.12 billion units in FY21. For the gas stations, the loss was 28.29 billion units. The generation loss on account of fuel supply constraint was 0.18 billion units in FY21. Now, the status of supply of fuel. During the FY21, metallization of coal against ACQ was 86.87% as against 92.95% in FY20. Coal supply during FY21 was 170.37 million metric ton, comprising of 169.29 million metric ton of domestic coal and 1.08 million metric ton of imported coal. The coal supply during the corresponding previous period was 173.67 million metric ton with 170.67 MMT of domestic coal and 3 MMT of imported coal. Despite COVID-19 pandemic and stoppage of work for about 94 days at Pakri Barwadih mine, NTPC has achieved a total coal production of 11 million metric ton during FY21. FY20 was 11.15 metric ton. Cumulatively, 32.36 million metric ton of coal has been excavated from Pakri Barwadih, Dulanga and Talaipalli coal mines till 31st March 2021. Cumulative expenditure of 8,182.87 crore has been incurred on the development of coal mines till 31st March 2021. A MOU was signed between DVC and NTPC Renewable Energy for setting up of floating solar PV park and projects in the reservoirs under the command area of DVC in Jharkhand and West Bengal. These projects are under REPP and CPSU scheme of the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, GOI. Power management consultancy assignment under ISA platform was secured for 500 megawatt in Republic of Mali in June 2020 and 100 megawatt in Republic of Malawi in March 2021. Very recently, Cuba has also appointed NTPC as PMC for 900 megawatt solar park. With this, the total capacity under implementation is now 1,785 megawatt, including earlier secured 285 megawatt with Republic of Togo. NTPC has collaborated for international business through signing of MOUs with EG&Co, Malawi, IOCL, Interrao Export of Russia, Bank of Muscat of Oman, and MECEN of Morocco. Through this route, NTPC intends to have more effective presence in the respective focus region so as to contribute further in the power sector development. Now, environment management. Initiatives for preserving environment taken by NTPC include flue gas desulfurization systems are under various stages of implementation for 64.39 gigawatt of group capacity. FGD systems have already been commissioned for 1,340 megawatt capacity. FGD system package for 58.94 gigawatt capacity are under implementation, and FGD system package for 4.11 gigawatt capacity are under various stages of tendering. For compliance with NOx control, combustion modification has already been implemented at 16 units with 7.44 gigawatt of thermal power capacity. Supply and installation of low NOx combustion system for 14 gigawatt of capacity is under implementation. Now I will touch upon the financial highlights. Gross sales of FY21 is 99,039.63 crore as against previous year gross sale of 97,443.33 crore, registering an increase of 1.64%. Total income for FY21 is 1,03,552.71 crore as against previous year total income of 1,0478.41 crore, registering an increase of 3.06%. For FY21, NTPC has registered its highest ever PAT of rupees 13,769.52 crore as against rupees 10,112.81 crore in the corresponding previous year, registering an increase of 36.16%. For FY21, the board has recommended final dividend of 31.5% of the paid up capital, that is rupees 3.15 per share, subject to the approval of the shareholders in the annual general meeting. As you are aware, interim dividend for the financial year 2021 at the rate of 30% of the paid up capital, that is rupees 3 per share, has already been paid in February 2021. Now an update on various other financial activities. The regulated equity as on 31st March 21 was 66,337.94 crore. Total assets of the company stood at 3,43,219.39 crore as at 31st March 2021 as against 3,27,667.45 crore as at 31st March 2020. The gross block has increased by 18,659.35 crore to rupees 2,11,557.37 crore as at 31st March 2021, mainly on account of capitalization of new units. Capital work in progress including advance stood at 80,679.63 crore as at 31st March 2021 as compared to rupees 77,881.03 crore as at 31st March 2020. At the group level, capital work in progress including advance stood at rupees 1,05,778.44 crore as at 31st March 2021 compared to rupees 1,05,411.92 crore as at 31st March 2020. Regarding fund mobilization, during Q4 of FY21, NTPC has issued bonds with a door-to-door maturity of 10 years aggregating to rupees 2,500 crores at attractive coupon of 6.43% on 27th January 2021. NTPC has signed a syndicated term loan in euro equivalent to US dollar 260 million on 23rd March 2021 with a consortium of State Bank of India, Frankfurt branch, Bank of Baroda, IFSC Gift City branch, and Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, Singapore branch. The facility has a door-to-door maturity of 7 years. Average cost of borrowing for FY21 is 6.24% as against 6.81% in FY20. Now a small brief about the capex. In FY21, we have incurred a capex of 20,338.68 crore on a standalone basis and total group capex of rupees 33,981.64 crore. The capital outlay for FY21-22 on a standalone basis has been estimated at 23,736 crore for NTPC. Now I will talk about the commercial issues in NTPC. NTPC has realized more than 100% of the billed amount, crossing rupee 1 lakh crore during the year, which is the highest ever realization. Further, the trade receivables are maintained at the level of 50 days sales. Now I will briefly touch upon some NTPC group companies. NVVN, our trading subsidiary, transacted 18.54 billion units during the FY21 as against 14.53 billion units during the FY20, registering a growth of 28%. This is the highest ever trading volume achieved by NVVN. NVVN has signed a MOU with South Delhi Municipal Corporation for implementing rooftop solar projects of and 20 megawatt ground-mounted solar projects along with charging infrastructure development. CIL NTPC Urja Private Limited bagged its first assignment of project coordination for setting up of a 50 megawatt solar power project in Nigai Coal Mines of Northern Coalfields Limited. It is a major step towards green energy by the two major PSUs, NTPC and CIL, joining hands to create such projects utilizing CIL's vacant land and NTPC expertise. NTPC will act as a project management consultant for this solar project. During the FY21, we have accounted dividend income of 1,283.18 crore from our subsidiary and joint venture companies as against 210.40 crore received during FY21. NTPC continues to win laurels and awards in various fields. Major awards received in Q4 FY21 are as follows. NTPC received Role Model Award at 11th CII National HR Excellent Award 2021. This award is the highest level of recognition in the field of human resource by CII. This is the second time when the award of role model has been conferred to any organization. This award has been given after a period of 10 years to any organization. NTPC has been confirmed with the Certificate of Appreciation for Best Corporate Social Responsibility Practice and COVID-19 Relief. NTPC has been confirmed with CSR Leadership Award under the category of Best Corporate Social Responsibility Practices by World CSR Day Organization. NTPC has been awarded for Innovative Training Practices by ISTD. NTPC has won the prestigious ISTD Award in Learning and Display for the Innovative Training Practices for the financial year 19 and financial year 20. NTPC has been ranked as number one buyer by GEM under CPSC category. NTPC has also achieved second rank under the number of distinct projects on JAM during FY21. Apart from this, NTPC has been selected as the best place to work yesterday only by the GPTW. These were some of the highlights I wanted to share before we begin with the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir, and congratulations on a good set of numbers. So my first question is, the other income is way too high, and the finance cost is, slightly lower QOQ, and employee benefit expenses are also low QOQ and YOY. Can you please explain the reason behind it, and what is the adjusted PAT?
I will talk to your questions. One is regarding other income, is why the other income is high. Other income is high on account of accounting of late payment surcharge and accounting of dividend, mainly dividend from the joint venture and subsidiary companies. Now, employee cost decrease is mainly due to retirement of certain of the employees and increase in the PRP ex gratia in the previous year. Then we come to interest and finance charges. Decrease is on account of exchange difference, positive exchange difference, that is rupee appreciation against the dollar and JPY loan. But against this decrease, a corresponding minus entry is also appearing in the regulated, movement in rate regulated deferral account. So you have to consider both the items together. If you consider that also, it would be minimal increase. Minimal decrease in the interest and finance charges.
Understood. My second question is...
I have answered.
So my second question is on the renewable capacity. What is the renewable capacity operational and pipeline and end of FY21 with PPA? And secondly, what do you mean by capacity under tendering? Does it mean that 3 gigawatt of capacity which is under tendering has got a PPA, or this is without PPA?
I will request Mr. Mohit, who is the Executive Director, to answer this question.
Yeah, good evening. The installed capacity today is about 1340 megawatts, and the capacity under construction is 3019 megawatts. All of these have PPAs except 125 megawatts. The capacity which is under tendering does not have a PPA right now.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, and best of luck.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ajinkya Bhatt from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, I just wanted to check a couple of things. Number one, did you say that the renewable capacity targets have now been increased to 60 gigawatt by 2032?
Yeah.
So, sir, on that background, just a couple of things. Number one, so your earlier target was to reach, say, 32 gigawatt with total installed capacity of 130 gigawatt. Now, let's say that goes to 60 gigawatt renewable in, say, 160 gigawatt total capacity. So even, say, 10 years down the line, your renewable capacity would be about 40% of installed versus 60% thermal. So that's still probably not meeting the criteria of, let's say, various ESG funds. So have you thought about it? Is there any plan or thought process about, some sort of spin-off of this renewable entity going forward? Obviously, it might be too early to talk about it, but have you thought about it or discussed about it with the board?
No, I think probably you missed the point. It has already been mentioned that NTPC has created a wholly owned subsidiary for renewable, NTPC Renewable Energy Limited, which is now operational, and generally all of our new greenfield capacity is being put out through this subsidiary only.
In addition to that, we have also signed a joint venture agreement with NIIF for development of solar power projects.
Yeah.
No, sir, I basically meant that not. So I understand you have a separate subsidiary, but is there any plan or thought process about spinning it off in the sense that listing it separately from the current NTPC structure? That was my question. Listing it separately on the exchanges.
We are thinking on those lines.
Okay. And so secondly, the second question is, how has been the competitive intensity in the renewable tenders that are out in the market, especially considering the fact that some of the other PSU companies, such as Coal India, have also expressed desire. Basically, they are also getting into the solar power plants. And, in renewables, the biggest cost item is basically the interest cost, where all the PSUs might be on a similar footing, enjoying better cost of debt compared to private operators. So other PSUs getting into it, is that increasing competitive intensity for you? That's my last question. Thank you.
That is there, but still NTPC is in the advantageous position so far as arranging of low-cost finances are concerned. So that advantage is always available in NTPC, and with this we expect that we will get some priority in the tenders.
Okay. So no specific increase in intensity, competitive intensity from other PSUs, or at least not yet, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we are not thinking on those lines.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vishal Bidaiya from Aviva Insurance. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, 2-3 questions. Why was the borrowing limit enhanced? Are there any acquisitions in store? Could you break up the composition of, could you give the composition of FY22 capex that you outlined at about 200 crore, at about 230 crore, 23,000 crores?
23,000 crores.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, actually the capital enhancement has been done considering the merger and acquisitions, because two of our subsidiary companies, that is Nabinagar and Kati, they are likely to be merged with NTPC in the next year. So their borrowing cost will also be included in NTPC. And you just mentioned that we have also considered a capacity, capex of 23,736. In addition, we also increase this for any acquisitions which may carry out in the field of RE or any other acquisition, business combination acquisitions.
Okay, and of the 23,000 crores of capex that you plan for FY22, what portion of this could be for thermal and what portion for RE?
Right now that I think we just cannot tell you, but you can obtain this separately from Aditya Dar.
Okay, and any targets for capex for FY23-24 that you can point out?
23-24 capex.
We are working at something like 22,000 right now, but we are in the process of preparing our B and RE also. The numbers will be more clear by 31st of August.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Modi from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations. Sir, just 2 questions I had, mainly on RE. Sir, any timelines on the CPSU tender which we were expecting, the 5,000 megawatt tender? And over the next 2, 3 or 4 months, what are the quantum of tenders, both solar and wind hybrid, if we are participating in, that could potentially come up for bidding?
The CPSU scheme tender has been postponed to 30th June, and it shall be the bid submission date, 30th June. So we are hopeful that it will happen then. As regards the upcoming tenders, there are quite a few in the pipeline. We are looking at bidding of around close to 5,000 megawatts in the upcoming tender. Of course, the results will depend on how the bids work out.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Atul Tiwari from Citigroup. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, would it be possible to share consolidated regulated equity? Hello?
Consolidated.
You can get it from Aditya Dar separately.
Sir, actually, I have tried in the past, and somehow it appears that it is not really available. So, I mean, because now obviously NTPC Group is much bigger than NTPC standalone. So, it would be great if you could make it a part of your, the press release. Because that is one critical number that we always miss. And actually, in the previous conference call also, it has been told to us that we can get it separately, but somehow it is not available.
Okay, it will be around 84,000 crores.
Okay, so that helps. And sir, what was the total receivable and more than 40 is the due receivable as of FY21?
Receivable. He is asking. Actually, your voice was cracking. I think you are asking about the total receivables as at 31st March 2021.
Yes, sir. And overdue receivable.
Okay. Yeah, total receivable as on 31st March was 12,750 crore, and beyond the due date was 6,500 crore.
Okay. And sir, what were these numbers last financial year, March 20, just for comparison?
Just March 20, total dues were it was 14,189, and overdue amount was 9,580.
9,580.
585.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sumit Kishore from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. I have a few questions. The first one, could you elaborate on your target of 60 gigawatt by 2032 and the roadmap to achieving that? Can we have a 2-year target or a 3-year target as well? Particularly because, we have heard of targets on the solar and renewable side for 2022, 4 or 5 years back, but clearly we are nowhere close to achieving that. Also, have you reviewed your thermal targets over a 10-year time frame, and what can we expect over a 3 to 4 year time frame beyond what is already under construction? That's my first question.
Okay. So in FY21, we will be adding 1 gigawatt. FY22, 3 gigawatts. FY23, 8 gigawatt. FY24, 15 gigawatt. These are cumulative numbers.
Okay, so your capacity by FY24 will be 15 gigawatt is what I understand.
Yeah.
And FY22, what did you say, sir?
3.
Okay. This is very clear. So basically you are saying that if India, you are going to get to 15 gigawatt by FY24 from 1.34 gigawatt as on date, you're going to add 13 gigawatt in the next 3 financial years. What do you think is the size of the Indian market on an annual basis in terms of solar installation? I'm assuming FY24 15 gigawatt will be your installed capacity. So, we are at 95 gigawatt as a country on renewables, 40 gigawatt is solar. So please, tell us by FY24, what do you think the Indian solar capacity will go from 40 gigawatt to? Because, it appears like a very big number for NTPC to do versus past track record.
It is 10%.
Yeah, I think again you've been asking very speculative question. So broadly, the intent of the government of India is to bid out close to 20 gigawatts every year. However, how much of that actually comes through depends on how things work out, maybe by the agencies like SECI and NHPC and others.
Yeah.
That's one.
If we take 20 gigawatt, it will be 60 gigawatt in 3 years. of which NTPC will do 13 gigawatts. So that is the market share that we should be looking at.
No, I think that's not correct assumption. When we're talking about 14 or 15 gigawatt, we need to assume that these are the capacities which will come online, which means some of these capacities are already won or under implementation, and some of these will be under bidding. So it's a mix of both. So you need to look
Fair enough. That is clear. On the thermal side, can you please tell us, have you reviewed your thermal target over that time frame of 2032, or the old target remains? Because, we clearly seeing that the appetite for fresh coal plant build-out has gone off meaningfully.
We are going ahead with our ongoing projects, and as per the construction schedule, we are going to achieve 6092 of total capacity, out of which RE will be 1062. If I knock it off, around 5000 megawatt will be the thermal capacity given the NTPC and JVs taken together, group basis. And if you ask me standalone NTPC, then thermal capacity addition is to the tune of 2370. That is by 31st March 2022.
No, sir. I was meaning to say by 2032. When earlier you had a target of 132 gigawatt by 2032. So, as the previous participant said, has that target now become 162 gigawatt by 2032? As in, your thermal capacity addition plans have not changed at all, or have they changed?
I'll tell you, this solar projection of 60 gigawatt has been made, and that is our plan for the solar. And our 130,000 megawatt we have not changed so far, because we are waiting for the newly constituted committee under CEA by the Government of India to look at the demand and supply projections. Once that comes in maybe a year or so, we'll look into our number and accordingly restructure it.
Sure. So my second question is on the impact of implementation of MBED on NTPC. Could you also cover the potential impact on PLF incentives or savings on, interest on working capital? The technical challenges which are foreseen, on implementation of MBED starting 1st April 2022.
Actually, MBED now, this Government of India has given some guideline. I think this still detailed procedure is yet to be evolved. And there are certain issues which will be addressed, I think, in the detailed procedure. As far as NTPC is concerned, since fixed charge is already protected, we don't envisage there will be any problem in case of MBED.
Okay, so basically you think that April 22 is a timeline that can be met, or do you foresee delays?
No, we cannot say right now, because this will all depend on whether DISCOMs are giving consent to this or not, because ultimately they have to give consent, because they have to have working capital upfront for making payment. So it will all depend on the DISCOM whether they will be giving consent or not.
Okay. Finally, thanks for the dividend of 6 rupees 15 paisa in FY21. Could you articulate your dividend policy? Here on what percentage of profit, or how do you see the payouts going forward in light of the capex plan that you have?
Actually, our dividend policy, we have been telling in the past, it is governed by the DIPAM guidelines, which says 30% of profit or 5% of net worth, whichever is higher. So we will continue to follow those guidelines.
But so you're already doing better than those guidelines. So I was wondering, whether those guidelines were relevant when there was no, dividend tax applicable on the dividends. So because that is no longer applicable, those DIPAM guidelines are outdated now. So in light of that, could you...
No, those guidelines are not yet outdated. Means Government of India, DIPAM, they continuously ask regarding compliance of those guidelines. Even today also we have mentioned in our board. In addition to that, we have also doing buyback also. 2%.
Yeah. No, I think because NTPC has actually done better than the DIPAM guidelines, so that is why I was saying whether we should stick to the DIPAM guidelines or should have an independent NTPC dividend payout policy.
As of now, it is DIPAM guidelines.
Congratulations for the good numbers and wish you all the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Girish Achutallai from MS Company. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. I had a couple of questions. So, firstly, on the renewable side, before the monetization of subsidiary happens, is it fair to assume that all your renewable assets, wherever you're raising debt, will continue to be in the standalone parent entity and you'll continue to have some advantage on the cost of borrowing?
No, I think it has been in previous questions, it has been told by Mr. Mohit that for renewable energy, a separate subsidy, wholly owned subsidy, NTPC Renewable Energy has been created. Apart from that, we have also signed a joint venture agreement with NIAF. So far as this wholly owned subsidy is concerned, we expect that they will continue to enjoy a similar rate of interest as NTPC is getting from the market.
Okay. Second, sir, right now you are outsourcing EPC. Is there a possibility as the size of the renewable tenders become bigger that you in-house renewable capacity in terms of EPC and O&M?
Yeah, so EPC will continue, but of course we are looking at fitting the packages so that we can buy some of the items separately also. So that's already started happening in one or two tenders. Going ahead, that will also be considered in view of the competition. O&M is already in-house. It's being done in-house by NTPC.
Okay. The third one was just around dividends. Is there a thought process on quarterly dividends going forward from this year onwards? Any light that you can share on that aspect?
As of now, we have not thought on those lines.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anuj Kapadia from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. So 2-3 questions. First, on the under recovery part. So could you just mention what was the under recovery for 21 this service last year?
In this FY21, it is 601 crore as against 249 crores in the corresponding previous year. In Q4 FY21, it is 31 crores. In the corresponding previous year, it was incentive of 130 crores.
Okay. Any specific reason, sir, for the rise in under recovery? Because initially, what the management has guided that probably we would settle out at somewhere close to 350 to 400 in FY21, but has now been gone to 100 or so.
The main reason is because of 3 units. One at Darlipalli, the other was Lara and Kehalgaon. In Darlipalli and Lara, these are the new units, new stations. There were some initial correction stabilization issues. So therefore, we had some leakages in the boiler and also a turbine issue. So therefore, that has we had some under recovery. And in case of Kehalgaon, there was a dike breach, and that took we had to stop some of our units. But right now, these issues are settled. All these stations are back to normal, and they are running above 90% PSF. Those are the reasons. And in addition to that, there are around, because of COVID, there are 2 stations where we had done the overhauling. That overhauling, during that overhauling, because of COVID, the time is extended, and we are actually approaching CRC for petition. That around we'll be able to getting around 26 crores back on that. So these 3 stations contribute around 550 crores.
That's helpful, sir. And could you throw some light on the capacities which are likely to achieve commercialization or COD in FY 22 and 23?
In the year 2022, we have a target of capacity addition, NTPC standalone basis, 2370 of thermal, JV and subsidiary 1860. And
sir, plant-wise, sir. It would be helpful if you can provide plant-wise, sir. Which are the plants which we expect to achieve COD?
I can right now give you the name of the plant on the thermal side, and detail we can give you, Mr. Aditya can give you further details. Like NPGC Unit 2, the COD will be achieved sometime in July we are expecting. Tanda Unit 6, we are in the process of declaring COD in June itself, this month. Barauni Unit 9, July is our target of this year. Darlipalli Unit 2, we are just going to start the trial operation from tomorrow and expected to do the COD in July 21. Bar Unit 1, we are targeting September 21. BRBCL Unit 4, October 21. And NPGC Unit 3, attempting somewhere in March 2022. Then Rourkela, which is through our joint venture. Our target is last quarter of this financial year. And Durgapur is a 40 megawatt through NSPCL, again joint venture, sometime in March of 22. This is the target as of now. The thermal station wise. RE, as I told, 1062 confirmed by March 22, but we are looking for adding some more possibilities here, and we will look into that, which will be clearer by end of next quarter.
Right, sir. And for FY 23, sir? Broad number.
23 details I'll give later, and definitely I can give you some names like Telangana Unit 1 and Telangana Unit 2, and then NPGC and North Karanpura 2 units, both the units 1 and unit 2. Bar unit number 2, 660 megawatt. And there is one project we are doing outside India, you know, that Bangladesh India Friendship Power Company Limited. One unit will be doing definitely this year. Another we are trying to do at the last quarter of this year, else in the next year definitely. That makes it 4900 total megawatt of thermal capacity. RE, we are based on the new plan. We'll come out with the details and we'll let you know.
Thank you, sir. So you mentioned that doubling of the renewable target to 50 gigawatts. Is this by 2032? Am I right, the timeline?
Yes.
Okay. So by far, which we are aware that the two major solar parks which are coming up in Gujarat and Rajasthan could add somewhere around 10 to 12 gigawatt of capacity to our portfolio. And now as we have doubled our target, so could you just mention which are those states or area where we are eyeing this major capacities to come up?
Yeah, you're right. The main capacities will come up in Gujarat and Rajasthan. Then we are also pursuing with Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. So these are the two other areas. But we are quite hopeful that in Rajasthan the number will increase further as more clarity comes from the government side to release land further for these areas. So these will largely contribute because these have the best potential in terms of solar radiation.
Okay. One last question, sir. While the quarter has witnessed a significant double-digit growth in generation, but that is not getting purely reflected on the revenue front. Will you just throw some light on that, sir? Because even at the EBITDA level, thing is remain as flat. So the earning growth is largely, fueled by higher other income, fall in interest expenses, and the tax credit which we have received in the past.
No, tax is mentioning, no, it is because of tax. Actually, if you see EBITDA, you just alone basis you cannot compare, because certain portion of the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme has reduced my sales in the quarter. So that is to be excluded, because the corresponding item is appearing in the provision for tax. So if you eliminate both two, then you can see the EBITDA, or you have to see the adjusted profit.
Could you quantify, sir? What would that be? Or if say later on we can get that.
I think Aditya will give you separately.
Fair enough, sir. That is from my end. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay.
This is the operator. Does this answer your question, Mr. Kapadia?
Yeah, I said it. Yes, sir. I'm through.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Subhadip Mitra from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Just wanted to understand what would be the adjusted PAT number for FY21 and for the fourth quarter?
Okay. It will be FY21 will be 14,218.07 crores as against 12,173.49 crores.
Okay, and for the 4Q?
Q4 will be 3,831 as against 2,924 crores.
Okay, understood. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhruvam from HDFC Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, in the segmental accounting, if I see the other segment, the generation, you have two segments, other generation and others. The others have a significant drop this year on a full year basis. So what is causing this?
I think in the others, it's
generally it is a consistent number. This time it has come down significantly.
No. Actually, it is coming because of this THDC and NIPCO loans, which we have taken. That is coming under the others in segment.
But that would be in the finance cost in the segmental. I'm looking at the standalone numbers.
Standalone segment, you are seeing which portion?
The others. The others, yeah. You have generation and others. So others used to be around 300 to 500 odd number generally. Okay. This time it is around minus 34 crores.
Dhruv, we will give you this.
Sure.
Actually, we have created some provision with respect to certain mines which have been deallocated.
Okay. So in your adjusted PAT number, you would be adjusting for that number.
No, you are asking segment result or you are asking adjustment number you want?
Segment result only. No, I'm asking for the segment result only. But so this number you will adjust in the when you gave the adjusted PAT number, this number will be adjusted for. This provisional number will be adjusted.
Definitely.
And so in the earlier comment you mentioned that the other income is high because of dividend income. But if I look at the consolidated other income also, that number is also decently high, about 1,500-1,600 crores versus the run rate of 500-600.
Because in consolidated also, those companies are also getting dividends. Surcharge. I told this is on account of two items. One is the dividend from JV subsidy companies. In the consolidated, that will be eliminated. But the second item is late payment surcharge. That will continue to appear in both the consolidated as well as standalone accounts.
So what would be late payment in 4Q? Standalone or consolidated?
In? Late payment surcharge in?
Late payment surcharge in 4Q, in your fourth quarter.
Yeah. For the year, it is 1,633 crores.
Last year.
Oh, sorry, it was in March 20. In March 21, it is 2,316 crores. If you see quarter, It is 620 crores in the current quarter as against 393 crores in the previous quarter.
That is 20 crores this quarter. Got it. Okay. And sir, one question, two small questions. One was on the Telangana issue. I read in your notes that you have got an NGT order. So, sir, is that stopping your work, and would this result in a delay in the project execution?
No.
So the work continues.
Yeah. We have already approached to the Supreme Court of India against the order of NGT.
So the work is not stopped. The case can continue, and by the time you can continue to work on it.
That has happened in Kudgi also.
Got it. And the last question was in the RE business. This is similar to what one participant asked earlier. So we have done a reasonable work in the solar segment and have gotten some edge there. But sir, it seems the incremental bid that would be coming are, say, probably in the wind or in the storage side. So how are we? Do you see that as a hurdle for us, or if not, then how are we preparing for wind or storage, because that has not been there for us in the past?
Yeah, we are looking at wind also as well as hybrid and solar. So these are things which will depend on how many bids do come out. So depending on that, we are working on this side as well. And the portions or parcels of land which we are trying to tie up with government are also those which also have a reasonable or decent wind potential. That is how we propose to tackle it.
Mm-hmm. But as such, getting hybrid contracts and executing them versus what you were doing in solar, you don't see that as a hurdle or as a significant challenge?
So, you see, every project is a challenge that way. So you can't say that projects are not a challenge. But whether it's solar or wind, so because we go through the industry route and we engage capable parties to execute that, so we don't really see that as a challenge.
Sure, sir. Got it. Sure. Thanks. That's all. Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from Ram Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Sir, thanks for the opportunity once again. Sir, my first question is, are we looking to tender out Lara, Talcher and Singrauli? Do you think this gets postponed given the current environment? And second question is, are we achieving ramp rate in all these stations? I think the ramp rate regulation kicked in from April 21. Do you see any adverse or any adverse impact on the profit on account of that? And thirdly, sir, what are we trying to ensure that under recovery is reduced to bare minimum in FY22?
Last question first.
We are able to achieve the ramp rate except in the Barauni 110 megawatt and Vindhyachal 210 megawatts. Other than these two stations and units, everywhere we are achieving ramp rate. So therefore, we don't see any issue in achieving the ramp rate. Regarding the AFC under recovery, since these two units we had, as I said, in Lara and Delipalli, we did have a problem. So based on this feedback, we have constituted a special team for improving the quality during construction. And this team is going to all the now upcoming projects and ensuring that these things will not be repeated. Second, the Kehelgaon, where the dike incident has happened, again we have made a team at our corporate center so that these things can be taken care of. More compliance, more supervision will be there, so that we can eliminate this AF standard.
Regarding Talcher, Lara and Singrauli expansion, we'll tell you an ambivalent answer. We are
आपण ज्या व्यक्तीशी बोलत आहात त्यांनी आपला कॉल होल्डवर ठेवला आहे.
Sorry for that, sir. Please go ahead.
I'll again repeat. Regarding expansion through award of Talcher, Lara and Singrauli, Talcher we are almost ready. We are looking for Government of Orissa permission and clearances, and we are also looking at the last moment discussion with the bidders. Regarding Lara, we are awaiting environment clearance from Ministry of Environment and Forest. Singrauli received the clearance. We are looking at the specifications and preparing the specifications. In fact, we had gone for technical bidding first stage also for that. But with one rider, as I said, that we are waiting for the Government of India CEA committee to come out with the Indian scenario by 2030. We are ramping up on the RE sides. We are giving more stress on the greener power. Whatever is the demand gap required to fill fast based on coal and fossil fuel, we'll go by that Government of India study and try to take that. This is the position today.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. Best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen,
Hello, some more questions.
Yes, sir.
Do you have some more questions?
Sir, this was the last question. I would now like to hand over the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Okay, thank you very much. We have paid a decent dividend this year, and we hope that we will continue to pay good dividend to our investors. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Motilal Oswal Financial Services, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.